It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The Moose.
You might not be an A, but you are a B plus.
Check it out! Here we go!
All right, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Sunday, I hope, as you listen to this, which means it's time for All the Rest, but All the Rest has already come out. Of course, that was hosted by Mr Myster1ous, who joins me now. How are you, Mr Myster1ous?
I'm going great. I am very much looking forward to our topic of discussion for this segment.
All Elite Wrestling.
Finally.
Yeah, they held a show called Double or Nothing exactly a week ago, and we didn't talk about it because someone didn't watch it in time.
I mean, we don't want to name names, do we, Greg? Or do we?
Have you watched it now?
I have watched it in its entirety. I have dissected this in depth. I am very much looking forward to talking about this and everything else AEW related.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good thing that we've waited a week, to be honest, because the Moxley interviews are starting to come out, and whoo boy.
Oh, wow.
Boy.
We were rewarded for our patience, and we get to talk about a bunch of stuff for you guys today. It's going to be fantastic. Where do you want to start, Greg Unchained?
Let's start with the show itself, yeah?
Yep.
Overall vibes. What did you think of Double or Nothing?
Vibes, changes in the air. I absolutely adored pretty much everything about this entire thing. Like, I have my criticisms about some of the matches, but as a pay-per-view itself, as an experience, AEW, it's felt like, of course, being on TNT, it felt like the WCW of old. It felt like there was actual change. It felt like everyone was all on the same team trying to make something that make this entire show fantastic, and I feel like they definitely succeeded.
Man, you know what I think it felt like? I think it felt like wrestling has returned to North America.
Yes.
That's what it felt like to me, because, I mean, look, make no bones about it. Like, Vince doesn't make any bones about it. WWE is not wrestling anymore. It's not.
It's sports entertainment.
Yeah. It's its own beast. And wrestling is sports entertainment. I believe that in my bones. But WWE is WWE sports entertainment. It's not wrestling anymore. They should change their name to World Sports Entertainment, really.
Maybe.
Like, wrestling's in the name, Vince. Change the name again. Get the W out. Can we start a hashtag, get the W out? Like, you're not allowed to call yourself wrestling anymore, Vince. This is wrestling. This was people going out there, knowing who the winners were going to be, knowing the outline for what they needed to do, and doing it, but without overproduction, without over-scripting, without a team of writers, which we'll get to, I suppose.
We will get into that in due course.
Yeah, it felt like wrestling. It felt like wrestling of old, especially when you got to the latter half of the show. Let's break things down. Let's start with the pre-show. A lot of people are shitting on the pre-show. I enjoyed the pre-show, but I think that the criticisms of the pre-show are valid when you take it from the perspective of this pre-show should have been trying to get new fans on board, whereas it felt very fan servicey to me, the indie fan, tuning into, like, I'm tuning in and I'm like, Orange Cassidy, holy shit, yeah. The casual fan sees Orange Cassidy come in with his hands in his pocket and, like, lightly kick Tommy Dreamer, and they don't mark out the way I do. They're like, what the fuck is this guy's deal?
Yeah, yeah. And I've only just looked into Orange Cassidy, and I do enjoy his work, but, like, I was part of that deal. Like, I should know more about the independent scene, but yeah, I saw Orange Cassidy, I'm just like, what is going on here?
Oh man, I loved it. It was amazing when he takes that bump. He takes that flat back bump without his hands, like his hands are in his pocket. Like, you don't realize how much the arms are part of a regular bump. Like, just when a guy takes a clothesline, they're so quick with it. I mean, you would know, being around wrestling in your personal life.
Yeah.
You see them training and you take the bump with your arms, right? But you don't realize it until you see someone just take it flat on his back. And you're like, dude, how did you not get winded? And then he kips up and he keeps his hands in his pockets the entire time. He gets eliminated. His hands are still in his pockets and he keeps going. And I guess one of the other big criticisms about it was not just Orange Cassidy, but there's a lot of characters in this match which you don't believe that any of them are going to really be the first champion of the company.
No, and we were talking about that in our predictions. Just like, it was hard to really pick if there was someone already announced if they were realistically going to win that battle royal. I will say just the whole rules of the casino battle royal. It was very cluttered a bit all over the place. It didn't really help shine a light on these characters, if that makes sense.
Like all the rules.
Yeah, like just coming
the confusing rules. Yeah,
sets of
yeah.
5.
I like the confusing rules. I thought it was cool. I thought the sets of 5 were cool. I think that it could have been presented better.
Yes.
Like have each of them as a card, like the 1 of hearts, the 2 of hearts, whatever, and have them come out individually, as opposed to just all coming down the ramp and relying on Justin Roberts to say all their names.
Yeah.
Because if you get a graphic and stuff, you can sort of get a bit of the personality across, and you can the announcers can sort of do their thing and introduce us to these characters. But yeah, it wasn't that. It was definitely a fan service for people who already know these guys. Ace Romero hitting the pounce on Marco's stunt though. Whew, that was fun.
Good to see Marco Stunt has recovered. He got injured a little while ago, and yeah, no, that was a great spot to see Luchasaurus in there. Freaking
Luchasaurus killed Joey Janela.
He murdered Joey Janela, who also had a lit cigarette on his forehead because Joey Janela. Dustin Thomas was in there
because Joey Janela, and also because Jimmy Havoc.
And Jimmy Havoc, yes.
Yeah, so he lit a cigarette in the middle of the match, which I popped huge for. And I was watching the show with a huge Joey Janela mark, and so she popped huge for it as well. And then when the cigarette got stapled to the head, we're just like, who else? Who else in a wrestling match is doing this? It's amazing. And we get to see it on All Elite Wrestling. Now, a lot of people are like, this isn't the wrestling we want from All Elite Wrestling. This is part of what I want from All Elite Wrestling. Wrestling is, at its core, a variety show.
Yes, this was definitely the thing to show, like to showcase variety. Like if you didn't watch the pre-show, then the SCU match that showed you a bit of variety. If you watched the buy-in, this gave you that variety as well.
Yeah, in a big way. But it's just it was obviously Hangman Adam Page wins and he moves on, and I think that's all just because of the visa issues.
Yes,
I don't think this was originally meant to be winner gets a title shot. I think they added that when they realized, well, this Park Hangman match isn't going to happen, obviously, and so they added that stipulation to it, and it makes sense. Then Hangman shows up injured, wins the match. They do the cliche spot of, the guy who hides outside the ring with MJF. Let's just talk about MJF for a second. What a fucking star.
He's incredible. And I like the fact you mentioned that spot. I like the fact that even though MJF did that, he didn't win the match. Like, I feel like if, as you said, if Hangman Page wasn't involved in this, I feel like he would have probably won this, like probably with that finish in mind. But he was detestable. I'm sorry. For Dustin Thomas is his name, the wrestler with the bilateral, no legs.
Yes.
Yes. When he yelled out Lieutenant Dan to him, I'm sorry, I just had a very sick giggle at him just saying all this shit, and not just to him, but to everyone else. MJF is the best at his craft in terms of being a despicable person.
I just love that he started off the match just going straight after Dustin Thomas, just straight away, just laying into him. He's like, well, I'm going to go after the easiest guy in the room, obviously. But then Dustin Thomas eliminates Sean Spears, the perfect 10.
Yeah, I will say, so even though we didn't have, so we had sets of 5 of people coming out. So as much as you had the Hearts and the clubs and everything else. So I was worried that they were going to do, for Brian Pillman, that he would be one of the Hearts because haha. But Sean Spears, in the sets of 5, he came out last for his set, which was the number 10. So that might have been a nice nod. He got the 10 spot.
Yeah. And it was this is the thing with Dustin Thomas, no legs. People say, he's perfect for a Joey Janela spring break, but do you really want him in All Elite Wrestling? Yes. Go look at the stuff that went viral from Spring Break was his stuff in the Battle Royale, the clusterfuck, as it were.
Yeah.
But he actually had a match on the first night with Tony Deppen, a one-on-one match, and he can pull off a wrestling match with the right opponent. I think that if they build a match between himself and Sean Spears for Fight for the Fallen or Fighter Fest or any of those, I think that he will pull it off and it will be amazing. Now, I don't know that he has a lot of range. I don't know that he can tell a lot of stories, but He is a really good underdog, and it's fun. Like, it was fun for me, and I enjoyed seeing him get that elimination. I thought it was really cool.
Mhm. And there was a lot of other, as we mentioned, a lot of great character wrestlers in there to make you kind of forget about Dustin Thomas until the right opportune moment for him to do his spots there. And
Yeah, it's 619.
yeah,
Anyone, but just going back to Hangman Page too, and the winning of the match and the title shot, because that's been the biggest criticism. Is lots of people are talking about, oh, do you really think, like, how could the prize for this be a title shot? Obviously, it was a last minute change.
Yes.
Obviously, because there were 22 people in this battle royale.
yes,
Right? Like, they were, and this is how much this company is for the boys, right? It's by the boys for the boys, or by the wrestlers for the wrestlers.
Mhm.
And so much so to the point where Cody booked 21 people for this match, right?
yeah,
And instead of saying to one of them, sorry guys, we're going to have nothing for you because Park couldn't make it, and we're going to have to put Hangman in and do this whole thing. Instead of doing that, he was just like, we'll just have Orange Cassidy show up out of nowhere
Yeah.
and be the unofficial 22nd man, because Orange Cassidy don't give a fuck. And it fit the character, and they made it work without anyone having to lose a payday.
yeah.
Just brilliant all round. And Hangman Page is going on to the very first title match, which he was always going to do.
Yep, all out against. We'll talk about his opponent later on, but yeah,
It's actually been made official too. They've announced it officially. So
yes,
that's when it's taken place. All out over Labor Day weekend in Chicago. We'll get to that one. Moving on, the next thing on the show was a bit of a promo backstage with the library. Well, it started with Smiley Kylie Ray,
it did.
right? And then the librarians came and were trying to tell them to keep it down. This was the only interview segment in the entire show, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, very peculiar. I'm sure.
Well, no, not peculiar. Tony Khan said that they're going to tell their stories in and around the ring, and that kind of thing will be kept for being the elite more often than not.
I think with the whole saying that they're very sports centric, like part of me was thinking that we'd see a little bit more. Like, I'm not complaining by any means, but I just found it peculiar. Like, if this is the direction going forward, I just have to. I'm not accustomed to it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to see what shape the TV takes when it comes around. Something else on the pre-show, like they'd cut to the announcers, which we'll talk about the announcers as their own topic, I think. But they'd cut to the announcers, and they're actually in a crow's nest. They're not at ringside.
Yeah,
Which adds to the sports-like feel.
very much
I
so.
think. Yeah. Big fan of that. But then the librarians do the shh, 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 shh. And
Poor
and
Kylie trying to smile during all this.
She's just so happy to be here. I love Kylie Ray. I think that's the point too. Everyone loves Kylie Ray.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely connecting with the audience, but we'll get to that in the breakdown of that match.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the last thing on the pre-show was Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, this was fine. This is where I kind of I was kind of half thinking, like, okay, when's the main show going to start? It was a solid match, but yeah, after the Casino Battle Royal, I would have much rathered just have that go longer, or I didn't see this need to be part of the pre-show.
Yeah, it was like a solid gentleman's three. Like, there's nothing too amazing either way. Sammy Guevara obviously working heel, which is good. Kip Sabian gets the win, which I think that was the big thing. Like, and this is the thing, we're going to talk about the booking in AEW, whereas in WWE we just talk about how crap it is all the time and how the booking makes no sense. The booking makes sense here. Kip Sabian goes over. Why? Because this is on ITV4, baby. This is on free-to-air television in the United Kingdom. Free-to-air, not cable.
Yep.
Like, TNT is a major cable station. In England, they're going to have their biggest audience in England, I think, because ITV is a huge deal for them. So Kip Sabian, like, expect guys like Kip Sabian, Jimmy Havoc, Park, if he eventually makes his way to television, expect them to win a lot.
Yeah,
Because this is going to be a big show in the UK, I can guarantee it.
the British wrestling scene is going to have a big impact from All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, the UK is going to become a huge battleground between it's going to force NXT UK to pick up their fucking game.
I don't watch NXT UK, so I can't say as to the quality of it, but yeah.
Yeah, they're just not telling great stories. It's going to force them to pick up their game. And
Okay.
I think all around it's good competition. Competition's good for everyone.
Yep.
But that does it for the pre-show. Overall, I enjoyed it as a fan, but I do understand the criticisms that people have.
Very valid.
That it wouldn't really pick up your casual audience. Like, if I'm someone who hasn't watched wrestling since Stone Cold and The Rock, And I've heard about this when I'm watching the basketball, and I'm like, oh, there's a new wrestling league. Chris Jericho's in it. JR's doing it. Oh yeah, fucking A, I'll tune in. And then I see a guy getting a cigarette stapled to his head, and Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
Just a wrestling dinosaur. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. And some of these guys like Jungle Boy and stuff, like they're very skinny people.
Yes.
I don't know. As a casual fan, I don't know how I feel about that. But
I think we should say as well, before we get onto the main show, we had the elites say hi to the fans and say about the attendance record in there, and talking to everybody and taking turns. Like, no, I want to announce things. Oh, I want to announce things. That was a nice little segment.
They also had their little video, which was really well produced, really nice, with Cody and Brandy showing up in the limo, and Matt Jackson walking past Michael
Nakazawa.
and super kicking the assistant guy who's always eating the apple, right?
Yep.
And Kenny just giving the thumbs up. Like, they did their whole being the elite thing, and it was great. But again, that's fan servicey. Like, a casual fan. Service. I mean, I guess a casual fan watching would go, "Oh, this Cody guy's a big deal," because showing up with the car and stuff, and the people who do that are always a big deal. It's always like your Ric Flairs, your Vince McMahon's, your entire McMahon family. So, like, they would have got the idea that these guys are a big deal, and then they come out and announce the show. But then we get on to the actual show, and things start to really pick up. The first ever AEW show starts with SCU. Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Scorpio Sky taking on Shima, T-Hawk, and Lindemann. Now, we both predicted that Christopher Daniels would take a pinfall here. We were wrong.
Yeah. I'm not complaining about this, but I was worried that my thinking was that the Strong Hearts, they would put them over to showcase the talent behind OWE, but at the same time, this match more than showed what the people over in China are capable of, and more. Like, so this is just a taste, a sample of what that talent can have over there.
I still think I would have preferred to have some of the Flippy-Doo monks on the show. If you go watch SCU versus the OWE team that they did in China that's on the YouTube channel, to me, I would have liked to see that match on this show. Because Shima, T-Hawk, and Lindemann, by the way, JR, they aren't Chinese. They are Japanese. All three of these men are Japanese. They're the contingent. Yeah, they're the contingent that have gone to China, and are doing the training of these guys. They're the Strong Hearts, and they've been all around the world, and they are Japanese competitors that are wrestling in China at the moment.
Oops.
So, JR, little bit,
little bit rusty.
Rusty? I was thinking of a different R word, but it's forgivable. Like, he's not. It's not. Someone should have clued him in to that, because I don't think Excalibur even corrected him.
No,
which was unfortunate. But and I felt like the commentary team took a while to get into their own.
It felt like so it was Excalibur, Jim Ross, and who was the other gentleman?
Funny. Pretty much. Alex Marvez is his name.
Yeah.
Now, I've watched Double or Nothing 3 times now.
Yes.
And so the match was amazing. And the biggest downfall of this match was, for me, the commentary, because they were still finding their feet. And I don't think they really found their feet until around the 6-woman tag.
Yeah. That's when they really
show. Yeah. The entire show picked up around the 6-woman tag, which, I mean, it wasn't a bad show to begin with. Like, there's nothing on this show below 3 stars, It's the best wrestling show I've watched in a long time, top to bottom. But, the commentary was still finding their feet. Some of the camera people were still finding their feet as well from a production standpoint, like filming the wrong tunnel, just little things like that, a little bit awkward. I love the 2 tunnel setup, by the way, heels and faces.
Yeah, that's like, if you think about it, like, any pro wrestling match would start in the gorilla position if they all go out the same way. So this completely makes sense.
Yeah, I like having a heel entrance and a face entrance. But, back to the commentary team. So after watching it 3 times, I've kind of picked up what their roles are, and I kind of got more okay with it. When I watched it the first time around, I shit on the commentary. I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know if this Alex Marvez guy needs to be here.
Yeah.
And JR and Excalibur sort of switched roles throughout the night at various points. When you're talking Cody and Dustin, JR was the play-by-play guy and Excalibur was color.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it was the Joshi match, Excalibur was play-by-play and JR provided color, right?
Mm-hmm.
And same with the Young Bucks match. It was, JR couldn't keep up with that action.
No.
so he took the color role while Excalibur took the play-by-play. And I was like, it works with them trading back and forth for the modern matches and the more old school matches because AEW wants to do that, right? Yeah. They want to have a modern feel with an old school vibe. Perfect team here. Excalibur, JR. Mm-hmm. Great. I think the issue is they don't want JR doing their weekly TV, or JR doesn't want to do their weekly TV because of the travel or whatever it is. Like, I feel like JR is going to be a big show guy, and so Marvez needs to sit under the learning tree of JR. That's how I feel like they're doing things.
Okay, that kind of makes sense, and this was like a weird hands-on experience learning from the master.
Yeah, well, Paul Heyman talks about sitting next to JR the first time and JR just being that really calming influence, just being like, don't worry, kids, stick with me, follow my lead, you'll be fine, you know? But that was JR in the year 2000.
Yes.
we're talking many, many years later at this point, and JR is like, look, he's still got it. Some of the sound bites he gave throughout this show were... I'm a fan, especially at the end. Some of the sound bites he gave were fantastic. He really picked up towards the latter half of the show. They really found a groove. And on my second viewing, I realized Alex Marvez, they may actually go for a 3-man booth all the time, which I'm not a fan of a 3-man booth. But Alex Marvez did have a very clear role that I didn't pick up on the first time, that I did the second and third viewing. He was there to give random little facts.
Okay.
He gave random little facts like people's birthdays. And where they grew up, and then JR would sort of take the reins, or Excalibur would take the reins and say why that was relevant, right? Now, if they're going for a sports focused thing, and his background is NFL, and he was a statistics guy in NFL, he's going to be the guy who's going to be there to be like, after JR and Excalibur are like, oh, he just hit the Judas effect. He's the guy who's going to be there to be like, he has never lost a match after hitting the Judas effect. Whether they kick out straight away or it's, he hits another move later, and do you get what I mean? Yeah. He's the guy who's there to bring up those facts. Like, when he hits this match 78% of the time, it's game over.
Okay. So at the moment, like without much material to work with, without my history. Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot to work with, but by the time they get to TV, they've got 3 or 4 shows under their belt. They'll have, obviously Double or Nothing, Fighter Fest, Fight for the Fallen, and All Out, provided they don't do anything else in that time, but they probably will because All Out's August and TV starts in October. Yeah. So you got to think they're going to have 5 or 6 shows under their belt. He's going to have some serious statistics come TV time, and I think he actually may shine. He may grow into this role.
Yeah, so at the moment, we should say didn't have much to do, but nevertheless, it didn't take away from my enjoyment of SCU versus Strong Hearts.
No, but if you do go back and watch the whole show, you'll notice, especially as they get towards the latter half of the show, that very clearly became his role. He was there to provide the little tidbits, and when you look into his history, he was a statistics guy with the NFL commentary teams, so I think that's his job.
Okay.
Either that or he's just mates with Cody, and Cody believes in nepotism. If you watched The Evening with the Bucks and Cody, Cody very much believes in nepotism, and he's proud of it. So,
yeah.
He straight up said on that stage, he's like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for nepotism. Gotta love the honesty. Moving on, someone else who may not be here without the nepotism. Britt Baker defeats Kylie Ray, Nyla Rose, and Awesome Kong.
Yes.
Good match. Awesome Kong.
Loved her appearing. It was incredible. I love the Brandy coming out, and just we've been wondering exactly what is her game with these 3 women, and to bring out Awesome Kong. I haven't seen her, I've watched Glow, but I haven't really seen her in the wrestling world since Glow, and it was just a great return to form.
Her claim to fame is obviously she had a quick run in WWE, but her big fame was in TNA.
Awesome Kong, yeah.
Yeah, but it's really, really good to see Awesome Kong return. She looked great, didn't do a lot. I do think the one thing that I would say here, though, is Nyla Rose was supposed to be the monster. Like, when this was built as a triple threat, and having Awesome Kong show up, and Nyla Rose wasn't a monster anymore. Although they did do the spear and take each other out of the match part, which I guess having those two in a one-on-one match down the line with Nyla Rose going over, that really establishes Nyla Rose.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's what they've got Awesome Kong here for, like a short 3-6 month stint where ultimately Nyla, like she passes the torch to Nyla Rose, and tie it in with the next season of Glow, and you got a winner.
Yeah, like again, like they even said on commentary, like Awesome Kong makes Nyla Rose look like a cruiserweight. They were really playing to that fact. Yeah,
Yeah, and so she gets to be the underdog ultimately against Awesome Kong and overcome and become the new monster of the women's division. Like, you can see the seeds for the stories that they're sowing already.
it's brilliant.
On the other side of the match, you had Kylie Rae and Britt Baker doing a lot of interaction together, and Britt Baker, obviously she's a vicious person.
Yes.
She's a fucking dentist.
Yes. Yeah, people are getting to that profession. Yeah.
Now, we know that I've had some experience with dentists recently.
Yes, you have.
And I'm just putting this out there. If you're a dentist, you're a fucking sadist. Like, no one gets into that job because they want to help people.
No.
Because they care about the general oral hygiene of the nation. That's not a thing. You get into that job because you're a sick fuck that enjoys inflicting pain on others.
I've had my wisdom teeth taken out. Yeah. It was not the best experience, but
Were you awake or asleep? Because my missus, she's booked in, and they're putting her to sleep to extract all of her wisdom.
I was awake. I was awake. Yeah,
it's a brutal process. Like, you're essentially going in there with pliers and ripping out a tooth.
Yep.
Right? It's fucking brutal. And Britt Baker is a dentist. She's brutal. She's in there brutalizing Kylie Rae. Smiley Kylie Rae, the one the fans want to love. She really connects with that audience. And people are talking about, I don't think Britt Baker's that impressive. I think that, Kylie Rae's the real star of this division. Nadoy, I think AEW know that. And, you gotta build her up, and you gotta have her lose, and you gotta have, Britt Baker be the I'm so great, even though she's kind of average. She's the Miz almost, right?
Yeah.
She's Adam Cole.
She's like her partner. He's Adam Cole.
Yeah, she's Adam Cole. Although Adam Cole's genuinely amazing, and I do enjoy Britt Baker's work. But Kylie Rae has to lose. She has to lose here, and we have to hear Marvez bring up the stats. Like, every time she's met Britt Baker in that ring, it hasn't boded well for her. So that ultimately, when she wins, we erupt.
Big rewarding moment. We love it.
Storytelling, baby. And that was brilliant. Britt Baker ends up getting the win after Nyla Rose and Awesome Kong take each other out on the outside. So far, everything about this show, the way it's been booked, it's very, you got to say it, right? It's very Dusty Rhodes. It's very logical Southern wrestling booking.
Yeah, and I mentioned on All the Rest just before, like they got Dean Malenko backstage helping out behind the scenes. Like,
He's one of the
coaches, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jerry Lynn too. You got to think Jerry Lynn's working on matches like the next match, Best Friends and Angelico and Jack Evans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, look, this is the first show for a big new company. Fucking coordinate your gear.
Oh, you talking about
Everyone was wearing the same color.
Yeah.
They were all wearing black and green. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that because if someone is watching this show and has no idea who any of you are, they're confused as shit right now.
Yeah, the Best Friends, like, they have that, you can tell that they're they're tag team partners, but I admit, yeah.
No, what I'm saying is all of them were wearing black and green, all four.
Yeah, no, they were. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Any one of them could have been the other's tag partner.
Yeah.
Like, coordinate your colors, but then coordinate with your opponent that you're not wearing the same colors as your opponent. You want one of you to be white and green, one of you to be black and green. If you love green that much, just don't be married to the black part. Which, by the way, Angelico and Jack Evans, my friend and I, as we were watching, we could not get past the fact that they looked like Kyles.
They look like what?
Kyles? You haven't seen you don't know the Kyle meme?
No, sorry.
Kyles, they're the guys that drink Monster Energy, wear flat caps, and punch drywall.
Oh, God, yeah, they do. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, no.
Angelico and Jack Evans are a walking, talking, living, breathing Kyle meme.
No. Now I just have a weird visual of this entire match now, Greg. I thought this was okay.
No, it's you keep your best friends close and your drywall closer.
Oh, God.
when you're Angelico and Jack Evans. You are the Kyles. That is what I am calling them from now on. Henceforth, whenever we podcast about All Elite Wrestling, which at the moment, obviously, it'll be once a month as the shows roll out, we'll do one of these special AEW exclusive episodes, and then we will build a weekly show when the TV show comes out. But they're the Kyles. They're the Kyles now.
Well, having said that, what did you think of the Kyles match?
It was good. It was good. I don't think. Again, I don't think there was anything really to write home about until the next match on this show. Like we're talking solid 3-star matches all across the board, maybe 3.5 for the SCU opener. I think actually when I look at my Grapple app, which I've been using lately to keep track of what I thought of matches, the Grapple app here, I have 3.5 stars on the opener, and then 3 stars through until this next match. It was a good match. It didn't really do anything to make either of the teams, super strong. Best Friends pick up the win, which, again, we were wrong. We thought that Angelico and Jack Evans would, but no, they went with the Best Friends, the established team. The real story here is the post-match angle.
Yeah. Can you explain to me, like, I feel like I've seen these people before, but I don't know.
These people will look very familiar to any Chikara faithful. They have also shown up in PWG. They have also shown up in Ring of Honor. They are the Super Smash Brothers.
Okay, is this like a copyright thing? Is that why they didn't mention?
That's why they didn't have the name. It's got
to be.
They don't want to piss off Nintendo. Yeah. So they're obviously going to have a new name, and that's why Excalibur said, "I know these guys," and then JR's like, "Well, who are they?" He's like, "Well, I don't know." Because we don't know what they're going to be called here. That could have been handled a little better. Guys, that could have been handled a little better. Maybe have everyone be like, who are these guys? What are they doing here? What are these minions? What do these guys have in store for the tag team division? A lot of people, I'm in the minority here. People didn't like this. People didn't like the minions. I loved the minions. You watch back when they formed that human throne for Player Uno to sit on.
That was good. I like that.
They formed that human throne. There's this one guy in the background just like grabbing at the throne like he's Schmeagol. My precious. I don't know what the fuck that dude was doing. He took some good MDMA. He was all about the sensations, all about the sensory experience of just touching that throne.
And I think that's a nice thing to say as well. The fact that first sensory inclusive event in wrestling history.
Yes, so if you took a bad batch of MDMA, Culture City were there for you.
They were there to help you guys out, and apparently, like a lot of people, like
that's bad. Sorry, I shouldn't make MDMA jokes. This is actually a very heartwarming thing.
Yeah, no, I honestly I love this news. I hope more promotions do this. I think is it JWoww? Like I think she brought her son who was autistic to a show and just like had nothing but like was raving about the staff at AEW in Culture City. Yeah.
JWoww of Jersey Shore fame, by the way. Not her real lips.
No, not her real lips.
Is her real name, not her real lips. But yeah, no. Look, we've said it before on all the rest and on the news sections, like the stuff they're doing with Culture City. It's amazing. When they talk about AEW being for everyone, they fucking mean it, man. They mean it. They're not fucking around with that shit. They want people to have a good time. It doesn't matter if you have a disability that would normally prevent you from getting out to a place like this. They want you to have a good time. And also, if you're being a dick, they're not going to stand for that.
No.
Did you see this part with the person who tweeted? He took a picture of himself, the fucking dumbass, and posted a tweet like, "Oh, this guy next to me wants me to stop being transphobic." And then the Young Bucks were like, "Oh, by the way, buddy, you're canceled.
Yeah.
Like you're banned from all future AEW events."
And like he had the nerve to say like I thought AEW was for everybody to justify him being like not respective of everybody. Like that's the logic there just baffles me.
Yeah, look, no, I mean, I can see the logic, I suppose. AEW's for everyone, even bigoted pricks. Yes. But don't make other people feel uncomfortable. If you're making other people feel uncomfortable and they tell you that, you don't say, "Oh, but this place is for everyone," and then broadcast that to the world. You're a dick. You're a dick. And yes, AEW is for dicks as well. But we're not going to let you wave it around, right? You got to dress that shit up. put a cock sock on, buddy. Put a cock sock on. Like, don't just wave it around loud and proud. I'm a dick. No, because people don't want you to be
No.
around. That's end of story. Yeah. So hats off to the Young Bucks, and presumably Cody and Brandy would have had to, and Kenny would have had to approve as well. And I'm sure that as this tweet made the rounds, all of them were like, yeah, fuck that dude, cancelled. Like, ban him. Who cares? Like, one guy, who gives a shit? And it sends a very clear message that this shit will not be tolerated, which a lot of people were worried that their "we are for everyone" would just be
It would be like marketing, yeah, hearsay, yeah.
Yeah, empty words to say the right things. This clearly shows that they're a group of action, and good for them.
Love it. And the next match, like, it shows that we're there for everybody to give us stuff that we've never seen before. 6-women tag team match. What did you think of this one, Greg?
Well, yeah, like talk about fucking diversity, right?
Yeah.
Like the level of international talent is like, I mean, WWE have a pretty diverse roster at this point too, but this was amazing. Having the Joshi girls come out there and just put on just a banger of a match, 4 stars minimum, I would say. Hikaru Shida, Riho Abe, Ryo Mizunami defeated Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura. Emi Sakura rocking that Freddie Mercury cosplay.
That was incredible. Like, how do you get a group of 12,000 odd people in Las Vegas to cheer for you without knowing a single thing about you? You come as Freddie Mercury, say, "We will rock you." Just, yeah.
Yeah, well, that "We will rock you" thing, like, literally, the hard cam was shaking.
Yeah. The vibrations, like, that felt in the moment, it felt great.
Yeah, like, it's something we noticed watching it at home. It was like, oh, the camera is, like, the entire arena is shaking, and reports from people that were there were like, that was one of the loudest moments of the night. The place was, like, literally rocking. Like, it was rocking. Like, it was shaking. There was vibrations. People were going to Culture City being like, I can't take this, and they were being looked after and cared for.
Yeah.
And it was all for Emi Sakura, who, even though a lot of the people in the crowd are hardcore wrestling fans, had no idea about this person. Joshi flies under the radar, much like Lucha does. Flies way under the radar. And this was an amazing... I think Hikaru Shida didn't get enough offense in this match, which is weird because she's their girl. She's the one that's signed long-term. I think the real breakout star here would have been... obviously, Emi Sakura with her character got over. But Ryo Mizunami, I think, impressed.
Absolutely. For someone like, she looked like this little girl, and they even said on commentary, like, 13 years in the wrestling business, and just flying around, just like looked like she was this meek, shy Joshi wrestler, but like the moment she's in that ring, she's flying around, like, very agile, very seamless. Yeah.
Okay, so no, at this point, you're thinking of Riho Abe? Ryo Mizunami was the redhead. I thought she stood out most. The powerhouse. Who kind of matched up with Aja Kong a lot. Right?
No, Aja was in a different league. I loved Aja in this.
Yeah. Look, I mean, she skipped a few beats from when she was a kid, obviously. But that's the thing is that these girls, they start wrestling at 6 or 7 years old. And so, yeah, Riho Abe, if Riho Abe stood out to you, like, I understand that completely. She was the other woman on the winning team. But Ryo Mizunami was the big powerhouse that faced off with Aja Kong a lot. And to me, I thought, like, I love a big Joshi girl just beating the shit out of people, right? Because that's the thing that shocks me about Joshi is just how hard they kick each other. Like, and you see matches where it will be like a Ryo Mizunami type, or in Stardom. Oh shit, the name's escaped me. Hazuki. Okay. In Stardom, you'll see Hazuki, who's like a bit of a bruiser. She's not as big as Ryo or Aja, but she is a bruiser. And you see them in there in a match with a trainee who's 13, having her first match, and they just kick the shit out of them. And you're like, if this was anywhere but Japan, I'd feel really weird watching this. It's like one of those weird things. It's just a cultural thing. But no, and Yuka Sakazaki as well. I'm a huge fan of Yuka Sakazaki. Her entrance music is a banger, and they didn't play enough of it.
Yeah. Like, I think I was the one who picked Aja Kong's team to win. I thought that Aja was just going to manhandle the other team, but there was a nice bit of back and forth, and it did show Aja, like, the amount of slams and bumps that she did to these other girls. Like, again, you mentioned, like, doing that stuff to, like, 13-year-old 13-year-old girls like trainees. Like Arja was just relentless.
Oh yeah, just dropping them, just no regard for their physical well-being. And that's the thing about like Joshi just has a next level impact about it. And I don't know why. It's because they're so small a lot of the time. And I don't know. There's just something fascinating about it. And I'm very curious to see how things will match up. Like when you see a Ryo Mizunami, for example, take on a Nyla Rose. Right? Like that's a big Hoss matchup. And I worry if they combine the Joshi with the regular women's division, if it's not separated. Like I feel like their roster's not big enough for it to be separated, but if they don't separate it, the American girls are going to look weak unless they learn to lay their shit in by training with these girls. They're going to start to look weak because think of how Rio or Aja hit compared to how Nyla or even Awesome Kong hits, and it's just not even close.
Very different styles, very different backgrounds. I mean, we'll see in the next few shows moving forward.
Could we see Kong versus Kong at some point?
It has to happen. Like Awesome Kong has taken some moves. She's taken some inspirations from Aja Kong. At some point, it has to happen.
Yeah, but this match, like I said, 4-star at least, in my opinion. That's what I rated it on the app. And this was 6 people who went out there with the crowd not having a clue who they were. After, by the way, a segment with a tag team that the crowd weren't sure about. And so the crowd were quiet. The crowd were dead. And they got everyone on board, and the show really started to turn around. Like, this is wrestling. You can go out there, you can just have an amazing match and win people over.
There was the turning point, and it all kind of went up from there because of the next match. This was 5 stars for me.
Same. This is where the show peaked, in my opinion. Cody versus Dustin. Yeah. The show peaked here. Perfect match. Perfect storytelling. Anyone who doesn't like Cody, shut the fuck up. Oh, but bell to bell, he's not that. Fuck off. Just because he doesn't do high spots?
He's an emotional storyteller, and this was in full display during this match.
Yeah, you go back and look at All In. He made people care about the NWA title and Nick Aldis, and it was probably the best match on that show too. Right?
Without a doubt.
And that's like I love a Carter versus Skrull, but I feel like you got to separate that. But it just emotionally, Cody knows what the fuck he's doing, man, and Dustin knows what the fuck he's doing, and they went out there and had a match that Dustin at 50 years old should not be able to have a match this well, but he did.
He was pulling out destroyers. He was doing senton flips. This 50-year-old man, and like the offense that he was able to covered in blood,
unable to see.
Like I obviously it was hard to tell at first because of his face paint. You're thinking like, oh, yeah, he might have just been a bit like bruised and weary, but like then when the blood really started to flow, holy crap!
Yeah, it was almost Eddie Guerrero level, Eddie JBL. Because at certain, like when he would be at certain angles, getting up on the mat, it would literally pour forth from his head onto the mat, and that mat was like almost red. It was so like I imagine how much money that mat's going to go for online.
Oh my god!
But this match was just incredible. Let's talk about the entrance. Where do you stand on the entrance? Are you in the love it? Or
I'm in the
hate it
love
camp?
it camp.
Me too. I think we're a minority.
I don't see why. I mean, like it doesn't feel cringy, like, and it feels like it felt right. It felt right to just have like obviously, like I thought that the like Cody and that would be more directing their grudge and everything else more towards the McMahons or to WWE as a whole, but to Triple H, like I'm not sure exactly why, but it felt more symbolic that it was more about the authority more so, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's oh man, it's hard. I understand the criticism, people being like, when people say, and this is what our good friends on the Turnbuckle, Brent and Lyle, this is what Brent had to say was, this is your first show. You should be worried about establishing your product and not talking about the other guy. Because when you talk about the other guy, what that did was that put WWE in my mind, right? And you don't want me to think of WWE. You want me to think of you. I understand that criticism,
Mhm.
right? But I disagree fundamentally because, let's be honest, AEW would not exist if WWE were not so shit.
Yeah.
If WWE was in a good place right now, if WWE was not how John Moxley talks about it, which we'll get to. This is going to be a long one, folks. If WWE was good right now, guess what? Every one of these guys would be signed to WWE because these guys are good at their craft. They want to tell the best stories to the biggest crowds possible. And if WWE was good right now, they would be there. But they have friends there. And they know you're not going to get to tell your stories. You're not going to get to. You're not going to be able to do the things you love about pro wrestling. And so they said, well, we've got this opportunity here with this Tony Khan guy who started talking to us. And he says he's got the money and he won them all over. They all had an individual moment with him where they were like, okay, this guy's really the real deal. They'd been talking to him for months before Cody eventually was like, oh, no, this guy's definitely the real deal. At the time Cody decided he was the real deal was when he actually flew Chris Jericho on his private jet to make sure Chris Jericho could make it to All In. They had this opportunity and they were like, we're going to take this. If WWE was not shit, AEW would not exist. So for Cody, and this is the thing too, is it fits Cody's character. I'm going to rant here, sorry.
No, you're fine. Honestly, it feels good.
It fits Cody's character because it's in his fucking song. How does his song start, Mr. Mysterious?
Wrestling only has one royal family.
No, wrestling has more than one royal family, right? Since he hit the indies, he has been all about his family.
Yeah.
He has been all about his dad's legacy, his brother, how he and his brother are two of the best to step foot in that ring, but WWE never gave them the chance to show it because they were Dusty's kids. And Dusty tried to take it to Vince in the 90s. And Vince is a petty, petty man.
Very much so.
He is a genius, or at one point was a genius. We're not sure, but we do know he's petty. We know that for sure. And Cody has talked about this at length. He believes that he was held down and his brother has been held down and given, like, he was given the Gold Dust gimmick because he was Dusty's kid. He made it work better than anyone should have because he's so fucking good. And so Cody has this resentment, and he has ever since he left. He left that company with a chip on his shoulder with something to prove. He made that list, and he did that list, and he became the most over guy outside of WWE in wrestling. Fight me. He became that because he had this chip on his shoulder that WWE suck. Vince doesn't have the right idea about wrestling. Wrestling is more than what WWE present, and we can show this to the world, right? Yeah. That is a big part of Cody's character. Wrestling has more than one royal family. There's the McMahons, sure, but there's also the Flairs. There's also the Rhodes. There's also
the Von Erichs. There's a whole bunch of them. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a bunch of royal families that have been forgotten. And now it's Game of Thrones, baby. Literally, there was a throne. Game of Thrones, because that throne signifies not only the royal family motif. That throne signalizes who?
It signifies a certain person who understands the game.
A certain son-in-law of Vinnie Mac. A man who we all, as internet wrestling fans, have pinned our hopes on. We have pinned our hopes on that man. Like, WWE's shit right now. Of course it's shit right now, but look at NXT. Look how good NXT is. Triple H understands. Triple H understands what needs to happen. When Triple H finally takes over, wrestling will be good again. Cody says, fuck that. Wrestling is good now.
Yeah.
He takes that symbol of Triple H. He takes that symbol of us pinning our hopes on this one man in the future. And he's like, you don't need to pin your hopes on that one man because wrestling has more than one royal family. It's Game of Thrones, baby. It's fucking on. That was a declaration of war. Anyone who says that WWE and AEW are not competing has no idea what they're talking about. Are they competing head-to-head in ratings on a Monday night? No, probably won't happen for a long time. But they are definitely competing. And at this point, I'm sorry, AEW are fucking killing it.
And this match proved it. I mean,
Sorry, that was just
no, no, no.
I feel like people aren't paying attention to the fucking stories. Like this entrance was the culmination of 3 years of Cody Rhodes on the Indies. Like,
Yeah.
almost to the date, by the way. And then, like I said, it's been all about his family. And then he smashes that throne and he says, no, there is more than one royal family. And me and my brother, we have something to handle right now. I'm going to bury the Attitude Era, but then I'm going to let him know, you're my brother, you're my blood. And the blood was everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I need you to be my partner.
And that's like, I think I sent you a video. That's like classic. Like Dusty did the same thing to Goldust, like back in WCW. Dustin, yeah.
The Natural, yeah.
The Natural, and he honestly, like, he seemed natural, like with everything he did, like harkening back to the old Dusty storylines. And they had half, like 20-25 minutes to craft this story with like blood, a lot of blood, sweat and tears, and to have that moment at the end where they finally are just like, I don't need a partner, I need my brother. It was phenomenal. There's no other word to describe it.
Yeah, it really was. It was fantastic. It was a definite 5-star match. Meltzer gave it 5 stars. That came out today. And I think everyone, like, if I, let me have a look on the Grapple app, because Grapple, great thing about Grapple is it gives you a community rating as well. So I rated it 5 stars on Grapple, but I can actually see what the average rating is across all of the users who've rated the match. So 455 people have rated this match, and its average is at 4.32.
Okay. So it's still, still solid.
That's a lot of people giving it 5 stars. I'm just saying. Like, it's, and to me, this is probably match of the year already. I can't think of a match this year that's topped it yet.
And honestly, it might just be like what you like, your style of wrestling that you prefer. So if you like the emotional stuff like you and I did, like, this is definitely the match of the year so far. If you like your more fast paced action, hard hitting match, you've got the next match we have to talk about.
Yeah. Well, just quickly, these 3 main events.
Yes.
3 very different styles of main event. Cody and Dustin, classic Southern wrestling, right down to the blood and guts. Like, it was storytelling through and through. It was the old way.
Yes.
Young Bucks, Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix, Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers. It was a fast-paced, high-spot PWG indie classic. Jericho Omega, Japanese-style main event.
Yeah.
You had 3 different kinds of main event. This is wrestling. This is a wrestling company. Fuck your sports entertainment. That's why Smashing the Throne made sense. Anyway, Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers tore it up.
Yeah, this was... I understand, like we mentioned, that Jim Ross had a hard time calling this one. Like, this... From start to finish, it was hard to keep up with this at some points, but it was just one of the hardest hitting matches on the entire card.
I just like at the end of the match, they had a highlight reel. And it was basically just 5 minutes of just every high spot from every indie match ever. Young Bucks pulled out a lot of offense from their competitors over the years. Busting out spots from the Motor City Machine Guns, busting out spots from Steen and Generico. Like, they went deep. They let people know that we still remember you guys, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that actually may be why Sami Zayn gave them the shout out on Raw. Like, I don't know whether that's scripted or not. I don't know. Did you touch on that and all the rest?
I didn't. I thought I'd leave that till here, just like whether it was, if that was scripted or not, but yeah.
Yeah, well, there's the big debate, right? On Raw, Sami Zayn mentioned AEW because they had that whole segment with the crowd can ask him anything, and he's like, you could have asked me anything. You could have asked me about AEW. And then he looks all shocked. And it was brilliant. I loved it. And the question was it scripted? Was it not? There's so many conflicting stories. If it wasn't, I honestly think he went out there with the intention to bring it up because they shouted him out the night before with the brainbuster on the top rope.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a little "we see you" kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I'm of the opinion that it was scripted, but it just gave him the chance to highlight that. And I will say as well, what was because if we've been watching Being the Elite, what was the tag team move that they did that they've been teasing for this match? I was trying to...
It didn't pay off. It didn't pay off. They didn't bust out a new move.
No.
And they didn't need it, which makes you think like, oh, are they going to start saying like, oh, well, we can keep that one in the chamber for when we need it, right? Like,
yeah.
Who are they going to need it against? I'll tell you who they're going to need it against. The Revival, baby. I don't know when the Revival's contracts are up, but that's when we'll see the move. It's long-term storytelling, I'm telling you. So the seeds are sown now so that we can get a huge pop later.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
I mean, like, the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks are going to face off again in Mexico in another few weeks after they've had a chance to recover, because I think the Lucha Brothers got banged up after this, and like from watching this match, like it's kind of easy to see why.
Yeah, you got to think that the Lucha Brothers are going to win them back in AAA. That's what I say. Like I feel like the Lucha Brothers will win them back in AAA, but this was
without a doubt.
This was a really good match. Really, really good match. Like, only just barely... For me, the Cody-Dustin match outperformed this match. But if you call this match of the night, I just think, okay, you're an indie fan. Like I said, I'm a storytelling fan. And so Cody and Dustin was, like, the pinnacle of the show for me. But you could easily say this was match of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Also, something to note. We talk about the sports style.
Yes.
They had a tail of the tape for this tag team title match. And they had the introduction of the ref, have a good, clean fight. I feel like this is awesome. If they're going to keep it to, we go strictly sports like with our title matches, that's a nice touch. That's a real nice touch.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I wish that they would have had this match be the weigh-in, though, because the weigh-in the night before was awful.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch the weigh-in. I heard the talk about it.
The weigh-in was just inconsistent. It was just like, it was nothing. Like, they weighed in Sammy Guevara and Kip Sabian. Who gives a shit? Either weigh in everyone or weigh in a marquee match. Don't weigh in the pre-show. What were you thinking, guys? I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to stick to the positives because overall I really love this show. And then we had Jericho and Omega in the main event.
Yes.
Jericho wins with the Judas effect, which I think a lot of people were underwhelmed by. And a lot of people compare it to the John Cena Shoryuken, the back
fight
fist that he does.
Yep.
What does he call it?
Oh, it's the sixth move of doom. Just
right.
Yeah.
The sixth move of doom, which I'm a fan of that too. So, people can't say I'm inconsistent. When he does that move, I pop for it and people are like, what? It's just a fist. I'm like, yeah, it's a fist. You know what real fighting looks like? You can kill someone with that. In wrestling, it looks a little ridiculous because you just watch these dudes drop each other on their heads 25 million times and kick out. And so it's a bit ridiculous to see someone win with a spinning back elbow. But it made sense in this match, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to... I don't know if he will... Like, he said it was exclusive just to All Elite Wrestling, but I feel like maybe that might be a ploy if he appears...
Yeah, never believe anything Jericho says.
Never believe anything that Jericho says. No.
You know my rule, don't trust a wrestler? It comes specifically from listening to Chris Jericho over the years.
Yeah. What did you think of his entrance, the series of entrances?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Cody is very much an entrance guy because, Jericho revealed that Cody was behind this entrance as well.
That makes sense.
It was Cody's idea. And I'm just like, man, I love the way Cody thinks. I really do. I mean, at the moment, Will Ospreay is my wrestler of the year, but Cody is my man of the year for real.
Yeah.
And Tony Khan. We've got to talk about Tony Khan's leadership at some point, but this is going to be a long podcast. We're strapping in.
Yeah, we're buckle in, folks. So I do apologize, but yeah, we have a lot.
Don't apologize, man. This is amazing.
Yeah, no, we're enjoying this, but I just
This is the beginning of an era, and Chris Jericho defeating Kenny Omega. I originally thought they're going to stay away from having a WWE guy end up in the title match, and I was wrong. So we're going to have Chris Jericho versus Hangman Page. Do we think Jericho walks into TV as the first champion?
I feel like it will be. This is why, at some point, one member of the Elite had to lose on this thing, and I correctly predicted that it would be Jericho defeating Omega. But
yeah,
regardless, everyone knows that Omega is bell to bell machine, and again, with this match especially, with a broken nose for half an hour.
Yeah,
man,
and it wasn't over. It wasn't over for him. Yeah.
No.
So Jericho wins, and he's walking into All Out. They've announced the match, All Out, Chris Jericho versus Hangman Page for the AEW title, which we didn't talk about the title reveal, by the way.
Oh, no, we haven't. No, so
the title is beautiful.
Yeah, we came out with Jack Whitehall, the comedian. He announced the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Bret Hart came out.
Yeah, which is another subtle shot at WWE, by the way. Like, you
Yeah.
just put this guy in the Hall of Fame for a second time, and he's here to show off our title.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was supposed to be Ric Flair, which would have made even more sense. But...
Yeah, I feel like it probably would have been, but he, of course, like he's dealing with health issues. He's on the mend, thankfully. About to reveal the title when out comes Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Yeah, and he cuts an amazing heel promo. He's an absolute star, and he takes shots at him for getting attacked at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
that was great. Can't believe he said that. But yeah, and then out comes Jungle Boy, and MJF's like, "What are you gonna do?" And then out comes Jimmy Havoc, and shit breaks down.
Yep.
Yeah, the segment did end up being kind of a bit of a clusterfuck.
It did. Like
they lost direction there, and Bret Hart's just holding up the title, and the camera switches back, and you're like, okay.
Oh, there's the reveal. Like, oh, there's the title.
Yeah, it felt anticlimactic a little, but it was still fun.
And like, I think like Bret Hart, he kind of stumbled on his words a little bit, saying like, we'll see this championship match in a month or a few months. I'm sorry, guys, it's been a while.
I'm
like,
not sure. Yeah. It's one of those things where if WWE did this segment, we would shit all over it. But because the Elite crew have built up such good faith with their audience, we're willing to forgive them little shit like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I feel about it. I can't speak for everyone, but that's the way I feel about it. Like, it's forgivable because of how good everything else around it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so the real story after the main event, obviously Chris Jericho goes on to the title match, but almost like definitely biggest pop of the night.
Yes.
Showing up, Jericho starts cutting a promo.
Uh-huh.
And then you hear a segment of the crowd cheering, and you're like, what's going on? And then you see people in the front row start to turn their heads, and they're looking up, and then they start cheering, and then the camera cuts. I liked the way they did that. I liked the way they let the crowd get it first before we did.
Uh-huh. It was very clever. And just, you felt like people were just kind of unsure about what Jericho's doing and like going with the fans. And then who came out, Greg?
John motherfucking Moxley. We all hoped he would show up, but at this point in the show, it was like, oh, well, the show's sewn up. No Moxley. Wait, there's Moxley! And the place erupts, and he goes down, he gives Jericho a dirty deeds, he gives the ref dirty deeds. I don't know if it's called dirty deeds anymore. They just call it the DDT.
Probably not, yeah.
You know, WWE love their trademarks. But yeah, so John Moxley, the man formerly known as Dean Ambrose, debuting through the crowd, an homage to both his Shield brethren, I assume, and also similar to Scott Hall entering WCW for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Almost shot for shot. And he goes in and he lays them out, but Omega fights back.
Yeah.
They brawl through the crowd. He ends up getting DDT'd and thrown off the giant stack of chips. So it looks like we're getting an Ambrose versus Omega feud. Sorry, Moxley versus Omega feud, which I didn't even know I wanted that.
Yeah, like All Out probably. that will be the next big showing for All Elite Wrestling. Yeah, poor Kenny Omega, broken nose, like on like
taking a DDT
on the chips, like got thrown off with a yeah.
Kenny Omega had a night.
He had a night.
He had a night, and he still said goodbye to the fans. Did the goodbye and good night thing after the show went off the air. But yeah, Moxley, man, he's the biggest star in wrestling right now. Oh, okay, hang on, sorry. I don't know if you can say biggest star. He's the hottest commodity.
He's the hottest commodity because not only is he a part of All Elite Wrestling, he's getting indie dates in places like New Japan.
Yeah, he's the knife guy. He's the knife guy in New Japan, which you can hear about on the King of Sports podcast, guys. But let's talk more perhaps about his podcast appearance on Talk Is Jericho.
The Emancipation of John Moxley. I have listened to this.
First, let's talk about his appearance on Talk Is Jericho. But first, I'm going to run some of the ads that we do, and then we'll come back. And the second half of the show is about to start. It's about to get good, folks.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, Outbreak Nutrition. Outbreak Nutrition are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at Outbreak Nutrition. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out outbreaknutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, outbreaknutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout.
All right, and we're back, guys. So first half of our big AEW podcast covering in-depth Double or Nothing. Now we're into the other news from AEW this week, the emancipation of Jon Moxley. I'm ready. Are you ready, Greg on Chain?
You hear that? That's me rubbing my hands together because this shit is juicy. Oh, this is juicy. Moxley showed up on Talk Is Jericho. He's also released an interview with Wade Keller on the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling podcast, which you need to listen to. It's one of my favorite podcasts. And also, he does this interview with the Jericho interview in mind.
Yes.
And he actually says, like, I don't want you to recap anything that you've said on the Jericho podcast, so we're going to go deeper and harder. So well worth listening. It's a two-parter. I've only listened to the first part so far of the Wade Keller show, which, by the way, I got to say this. After listening to the Jericho podcast, Wade Keller was the guy who broke the story about, he's definitely leaving. This is not a work. He hates the hokey shit. Obviously, Dean Ambrose used to be one of Wade Keller's inside WWE sources.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there because he got this story 100% correct with words that are straight from Dean Ambrose's mouth. Let's talk about it. The emancipation of Jon Moxley on Talk Is Jericho. Holy shit, he went hard.
The wrestling gods have been grateful to us. They've been the wrestling gods have been merciful to us, providing this.
Look, it's basically confirmation of everything we talk about. It's confirmation of everything we think. That Vince McMahon is out of touch. Yeah. That WWE's creative process is awful. That a lot of the boys there, a lot of boys and girls. Sasha Banks is someone who's fallen to it. Hate it. Hate the creative process and want it to go back to how it was when they were fans of wrestling, watching the Attitude Era, where it was a couple of guys writing the stories and the wrestlers themselves writing the promos and matches.
Yep.
I think the big thing that he said that really stuck out to me was all you have to do is show up now.
Yeah, everyone's in self-preservation mode. Like, was one of the big quotes that stuck out for me. Just like they're trying to make sure that whatever comes their way, like, because they don't have anything to think about when they leave. Like, they just show up, they get told what they have to do. They have a script handed to them, which script was a big word during this big podcast. Yeah. And it shows you exactly.
The thing he loves about wrestling is creating a character, cutting promos that put butts in seats for matches that you go out there and decide what you want to do in that match.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's what he loves about wrestling. The stuff that he presumably, and this isn't explicit, but it goes into it more in the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling podcast. But the stuff that he doesn't love so much about wrestling is the travel, all that stuff. He put over the Make-A-Wish stuff.
Yeah, that was very nice of him.
He felt like the work that they do through Make-A-Wish is very important. I feel like as well, it wasn't a complete burial of WWE. It was, look, this is their creative process, and it's not for me.
Yeah.
This like he at no point says WWE is awful.
No.
Just that it's awful for him.
And it just the creative process, like that was his single directive throughout this entire podcast. Like he talked about like his wife works there, obviously. Like he got a chance to meet his wife there.
Yeah.
And the opportunities that he's got because of working with WWE. Like, so he's grateful for them for that point, but then proceeded to just unload with everything else.
Yeah, he did that at the beginning of the episode. He's just like, all right, so I have all the respect for the McMahons. I have all the respect for WWE. I love WWE. I love my time there. Well, he didn't love all of his time there. We got to that later.
Yeah.
But he's grateful for everything they did, and then he's like, okay, now let's bury the company for 2 hours, which is one of the lines of the night. Let's bury him now. And Jericho, by the way, this was really just the Moxley show. Jericho would chime in every now and then with like a "Amen, brother." Like Jericho did almost nothing. This was just Moxley ranting for 90 minutes about the creative process.
Of course, Jericho had to plug his ads like just at the random opportune times, but aside from that.
What's that you say? You were depressed? You know what depresses me? Bad steaks.
Exactly. It's as bad as it sounded, guys, but like it didn't take away from our enjoyment of this whole podcast.
I loved Moxley. Moxley, Jonathan Good, the man who plays John Moxley, the man who played Dean Ambrose, Jonathan Good. He strikes me as a real man, right?
Yeah.
He strikes me as a real man. He's kind of quiet, stoic, he's kind of that detached father almost. Like that's kind of the vibe I get from him. Like I don't know. I mean, obviously I don't know the guy personally, but just from watching Total Divas, which guilty pleasure, and just from interviews and stuff, and from the characters he's portrayed, he does strike me as a real man. And
team player.
And he talked. Yeah, absolutely. Do the best with the cards you're dealt. Which he talked about. Like he talked about, I would hate what I was given, and I would do everything I could to change it. But at the end of the day, when Vince said, "This is what you got to do," I go out there and like a man is absent in, like, he's not saying I go out there like a man and I do it like a man, but it's kind of the attitude, right? Like, this is what I have to do. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it better than fucking anyone, right? Mm-hmm. And he just strikes me as a real man. And to hear him talk about depression was both amazing and sad, because he talked about depression the way I think too many men talk about depression, which this is something I haven't heard anywhere. I've listened to people break down the Moxley interview on, Voices of Wrestling, on, Wade Keller. A bunch of people have talked about this, and I've talked about it in the DMs with a bunch of people as well. And no one's talking about him talking about depression. And when he talked about depression, he's like, I was laying in bed and looking at the roof and like, I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to go to work. I was physically depressed. And Jericho's like, sounds like you had depression. And he kind of hand waves it. Right?
Yeah.
Like Moxley kind of hand waves it. He's like, I don't know. I guess I was depressed, but like, I wasn't depressed. Right? Which depression is so many things.
Yes.
And he was depressed. And just hearing him, tackle that was just eye-opening and heart-wrenching, and like made me love him even more.
Like he said, like he felt physically sick at the prospect of whatever the creative team of WWE would concoct for him whenever he walked into the building.
Yeah, and he said one of the things that stuck out to me the most was, if you're in WWE, don't let them know that you have comedic timing. Like, the second he knew he was doomed was when Vince realized he had comedic timing, because now, we're going to get you to do the funny shit. And every time, I love his Vince McMahon impression. That's good shit. That's good shit. That's what the fans connect to. No.
This is you.
Literally the opposite. Yeah. This is you. I love that. Just telling the guy, this is you. And the guy's like, no, man, this is not me.
The fact that...
And just knowing that he was done at the point where he was getting the injections from the doctor in his ass to protect himself from the fans in whatever city they were in that week.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, I was done with your character at that point too. I was like, well, that's it. They've killed Dean Ambrose. Like, there's no coming back from that.
No.
Like the mustard, the hot dog cart and all that stuff. Just the creative process, and the fact that it's all just for Vince McMahon. It's his sandbox.
And he wanted to come out like his sandbox, and he wanted Dean Ambrose to come out with a pooper scooper.
A pooper? No, that line never made it to Vince's desk.
No,
so
no.
this is the thing. He's talking about the process, and he puts it back to 2002, which sounds about right. After the invasion, after WCW, once Vince had the monopoly and started to turn it into this giant public sports entertainment empire, and he hired a bunch of writers, and they came in, because he used to have Paul Heyman heading it up and stuff, and and he would hire a bunch of TV writers, and they come in and they don't have the first clue about wrestling. But at this point, it sounds like even the writers know that it's bad. The writers know that it's bad. The wrestlers know that it's bad. The only person who believes in this system, it seems,
Vince McMahon.
is Vince McMahon and his sycophantic yes men that he surrounds himself with. Shout out CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. It's so bad. And to the point where, because they're writing for the audience of one of the writers puts a joke in there about a pooper scooper, and then the wrestlers have to run around for the entire day trying to get into meetings, get this approved, get this in, get the script changed and get it approved by the head writer to be put in front of Vince McMahon before Vince sees the pooper scooper one. We want him to see our one, the one without the pooper scooper line, because if he sees the pooper scooper line, he's going to love it, and then we're going to do the pooper scooper bit, and I'm going to be the pooper scooper guy. And that's just so striking. Like you said, the self-preservation, there's people running around backstage just trying to make sure they don't get made to look like an asshole on TV.
Like you mentioned the Wade Keller podcast, one of the things that struck me from that bit is the fact that he said in 10 minutes he had done about 3 promos for AEW. Like in just 10 minutes off the cuff, it's like boom, done. And the amount of process, the amount of efforts that he had to go to for just a couple of small promos for WWE took him hours.
Yeah. So the difference being you have to go through a team of writers. It has to get approved by your writer that's been assigned to you. And he can't even explain how it works. Now, I've listened to a lot of podcasts in my day, and so I know loosely how it works. There's the home team and there's the away team. The home team are in the office from Thursday to whatever day they work, Tuesday to whatever day they work. And they're in the office writing the stories and the overview of the show. And then that goes out to the away team. And the away team are the writers who take that and work with the talent to get the specifics, right? And so they'll write the promo, go to the talent, be like, here's what you're going to say, and the talent can tweak it. And then they have to, if the talent wants to change something, they then have to go and get it approved by their leader, who gets it approved then with the home team, who then it goes to Vince McMahon for approval, right? So you've got a 3 or 4 step process, which, and Moxley didn't even know this. He's just there's something about a home team and something about an away team, and I don't even know how it works. It's that complicated.
So he just would go straight to Vince to try and change the mind.
He would try to go straight to Vince, which is something he said on the Wade Keller podcast. He said he learned that from Jericho. Jericho was another guy who would sit outside Vince's office, and he said that he learned a lot of things from Jericho, like never talk to Vince while he's eating. If he's eating, he is not paying attention to you, and nothing you say will stick. Right? So Jericho has kind of been a mentor to Ambrose, to Moxley. And so he would go direct to Vince and just be like, this is shit, we need to change it. Oh, what do you mean it's good shit? Oh my God. But no, and the other thing, make sure if you get a promo with a noun, you have to run around and try to get it changed, because if there's a noun in your promo, it's going to become a prop next week. Right? Yep. There was a promo with gas mask in it, and then the next week, what happens? Vince wanted him to come out in a hazmat suit. Remember we all collectively shit on the gas mask when it happened? We were like, what the fuck is this?
Bane Ambrose, yeah.
Bane Ambrose. And the week before, when he dropped the line about the gas mask, he was trying to get that changed because he didn't want to have to come out next week wearing a gas mask. He goes to TV the next week and Vince wants him in a hazmat suit, and he managed to get it reduced to the gas mask. This is what you're dealing with. And then by comparison, he said, at All Elite Wrestling, it felt like home, man.
Yeah.
Because I said to Cody's his boss, by the way. I said to Cody, have a cameraman follow me, and because I think I'll have a promo after the match, right? Which, I put myself in his shoes and I'm like, yeah, you're out there, you've just made your debut in front of all these fans, things are going wild, you're going to have adrenaline, you're going to have something to say. Makes perfect sense. So he asks Cody, he's like, can you just make sure there's a camera guy waiting for me, follow me backstage after I get out of the ring, and we'll see what happens. And maybe I'll have something, maybe I won't. And when he gets backstage, of course, there's a cameraman waiting for him, and he cuts the paradigm shift.
Paradigm shift,
which, by the way, the paradigm shift promo, remember that, and Google it, because it's his pipe bomb.
Yeah.
It's his Austin 316. It's his hard times. It's an iconic promo already. Putting it out there.
In 2 minutes, he accomplished more than he did for WWE. I feel it's safe to say, and just like this, yeah.
He said the guy was there waiting, and he said, "Hey, point the camera at me. Press record. I'm going to do my thing." The guy pressed record. He did his thing. 2 minutes later, there's a promo in the can, and it's a great promo. It's a classic promo. It's raw. It's real. He's off the vibes of having just been out there. And what does he say? You know, one day they're going to come to my funeral to bury me, but it's not today.
Make sure I'm dead, yeah.
To make sure I'm dead. That's it. It's a classic line. It sets it up, and he breathes in the air for the first time in a long time, and you can feel it. And his story is an anti-WWE story as well. So we're going to probably get some shots from him, much like we do from Cody, because he's free. He's broken out of the asylum, and he's free to perform his craft, and he feels alive in this. And yeah, 2 minutes, and they had a promo, and then the Young Bucks came up to him and said, "Hey, we have an idea." 2 minutes later, they had another 2 promos.
Yeah. Simple.
One of which we haven't seen yet.
It's like for the next BTE or something.
Yeah. And so that's the thing is wrestling is supposed to be people who know what they're doing. And once you get to the big leagues, you've toiled away on the indies, and you've learned how to talk people into the arena. You've learned how to be your character, and that's what gets you noticed. That's what gets you signed. And then when you're in WWE, it gets you signed, and now they've got someone to write a script for you, someone to produce a match for you, and all you have to do is show up, and it's completely sanitized. And so if you're a creative, if you're a Moxley, if you're a Punk, if you're a Sasha Banks, if you're a person who grew up loving wrestling, if you're not an NFL guy who was like, "Oh, I'll go to..." This is why Roman Reigns is perfect for Vince, right? He had the family connection. He was always going to make it there if he didn't make it anywhere else. He actually wanted to be in NFL. He didn't make it. He shows up, he clocks in, he does the job. He doesn't care about it the way someone who grew up watching, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and wanting to be that. He doesn't care about it the way a Moxley does, which is fine. Yeah. Vince's system works fine for a certain type of person. It doesn't work for a Moxley. And we're better for it.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, much like Moxley, who want to say their story, but just can't.
Yeah. Jericho says there are people in WWE, and Wade Keller says there are people in WWE. Meltzer said this one, actually, I think. Yeah. People in WWE who it will shock you. Like, you can count on 2 hands the amount of people who don't want to leave, which is kind of crazy. That it's less than 10 people who aren't thinking about it, and that a lot of people, like some of them, will shock you. I'm going to put this out there right now. Randy Orton wants out.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, what's he doing? Like, what is he doing now these days? I mean,
he's breaking his back in a Money in the Bank match, not knowing who's going to win, just knowing it's a mystery person, and then sitting on the floor, literally laughing while the camera is on him, laughing at the fact that, of course, it's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
He hates it as much as we do. And I think Randy Orton is someone who, like, there's all sorts of stories out there about Randy Orton. He's friends with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
We know he's friends with Cody Rhodes. And it's one of these things where I feel like Randy, having been around wrestling his whole life and having been through the WWE system, and he's sort of, there's been moments where he's been tuned in. I'm not a Randy Orton fan, you know this. Yeah. There's been moments where he's tuned in, and there's moments where he's completely checked out, and he just doesn't give a shit. And I feel like maybe he doesn't give a shit because the process is shit and he doesn't like it. And he tried when he was younger to have more input, but Vince was always like, no, this is how we're doing it. And so he gave up and he just coasts. I think Randy Orton wants out to actually do good work for the first time in his career. I think that's going to be the big shock. I think Randy Orton's, because we haven't heard anything from him. We hear little, he does some little snide tweets every now and then.
I mean, like, there was the rumors a couple months ago that he was interested, but that was just like, it was kind of all hearsay at this point, but I could see it personally. Yeah.
I think Randy Orton's going to be the big one. I think that when do we know when Randy Orton's contract expires? Imagine if his contract expires in October.
We haven't heard it being re-signed, so he hasn't struggled. He hasn't Vince hasn't like been frantically trying to re-sign Orton. So I feel like it's probably not going to be for another year or so.
Yeah, so from what I'm finding here on Google, his WWE contract could potentially be running out at the end of 2019.
Okay.
So he could be the guy that shows up on TV one week and you're like, wait, what? Because he seems like he's doing the Moxley thing. He's just being quiet. He's showing up. He's doing his job. And he's just going to let his contract expire. I think Randy Orton's the big one that will shock people because he's a homegrown WWE star.
And like if that were to ever happen, like just like you think about legacy, like with the old legacy faction, that would be perfect.
Yeah. If Brock Lesnar showed up in AEW, no one's going to be surprised because Brock Lesnar will go wherever the money is. Right? But Randy Orton, he's a WWE guy. I think that's that. I'm getting way ahead of ourselves. Yeah,
like this, anyway, we're just like I'm sure there's a bunch of people that we're just like off kilter, like who we think would be in this similar situation, but just like we said, that they can't do it. And Moxley is the one who has finally come out and just like vindicated everything that we've heard.
Yeah, well, you got to think like as well, people like your Rusevs, your Big E's, your New Day, like these are people that are vocal on social media of it's not always what we want it to be, is it? I mean,
a lot of the stars were tweeting about AEW like after Double or Nothing, like they were like Big E, like I good luck to everyone at Redacted, and like what was it like?
I hope everyone has a good time at Redacted.
Like Becky Lynch taking shots, saying like, I'm at this convention, or as WWE calls it, a short pay-per-view. Like all these stars are doing their shots. Like
it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out because AEW aren't going to want everyone. They don't want to be that knockoff. But if they're going to go to war, which in these promo, Jon Moxley said this is a declaration of war, and I believe it, man. It's incredible. All the wrestlers tweeting about it. Sasha Banks was it Bailey? One of them said, "I love wrestling" during the women's 4-way match. It's on. Like, it's legitimately on at this point.
I mean, like, WWE, like, they've reacted. Of course, we had the Sami Zayn that mentioned. We had, like, people confiscating AEW signs at SmackDown. Yeah.
Yes, they were. What was the sign? There was a sign that was held up. There was one that was something about Triple H.
Say it was Triple H, and the other one was "You aren't MJF."
You aren't MJF. That's right, and they got taken away from the hard cam side. And as well, the other crucial element to this becoming a legitimate war is mainstream attention. What about the big Democrat politician lady?
Yeah, like Oscar Cortez. Like she's like been full. Like she's a terrifying woman. Like she's like out to like stomp on like all the bullshit going on. Like, and this is me, like Australian, no idea about American politics, but like she's one of the ones who is tired of everything going on over there. But she's actually.
I watched this show on Stan called The Circus, which very apt title when it's covering American politics. And she's sort of like the ringleader of this group of just hard-nosed, we won't shut up women that have been elected to Congress because they would not shut up and because they're very proud and they're like, no, it's time for us to speak. The future is female, all that stuff. However you feel about it, that's how you feel about it. I don't much care for politics on this podcast.
Neither do I, but
she's a huge name in the American political sphere, and she tweeted out about Cody in the post-show press conference scrum thing that they did. Cody talked about how important diversity is to the company and how he came around to realizing his privilege when Brandy told him, he said he was colorblind, right? Which is something a lot of us say. I say it. I've said it in the past, and to an extent, it's a valid thing. But this is the line that has always got me. If you're colorblind, you don't see my experience. And that's what Brandy said to Cody. And he's like, that's stuck with me. And she tweeted about that. So it's making mainstream news in places you don't expect it to. There was a Forbes article written about the Jon Moxley podcast. A Forbes article.
That's huge.
About WWE morale being at its lowest point.
And like, this is like, you had like only a couple weeks ago, like Variety trying to say all these great things about Vince McMahon, and like then you're getting like the proper stuff, the real stuff about just that there needs to be
Well, we're getting the other side.
the other side.
Because you got to think as well. You got to think as well, and this is where we get into. Actually, no, let's not get into conspiracy Greg. Let's pull out conspiracy Greg to close the show, shall we?
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Conspiracy Greg has some things to say along with conspiracy Vince, not that Vince, the other Vince Russo, bro. So not that bro. The bro everyone wants to forget about. We'll get to that. But I feel like there's still a couple of other things that we should really touch on here before we get to the funny stuff.
So we'll go back to the podcast. I should say as well, it's his most downloaded podcast ever. It doubled his previous record, 600,000 downloads in the first 40 hours.
Yeah, and even like today, as it's still going, 10,000 an hour listens at the moment. It's insane. It's insane. This is huge news, and people are interested. Wrestling is becoming cool again. Yeah. It's been happening for a few years. Like I said, all the way back to the Yes movement. I feel like wrestling is becoming cool again. Big question. So All Out is happening Labor Day weekend. It's in Chicago. Yeah. Did you notice on the poster they've got the stars?
I haven't had a chance to look at the All Out poster properly.
Right. So on the sides of the All Out, you've got the red stars. The you could call them CM Punk stars. It's on the Chicago flag. But in wrestling, everyone associates those stars with CM Punk. So the big question is, does CM Punk show up at All Out?
Okay, I'm looking at it now. I'm just remembering what you kind of said to me the last time you were on a podcast with me, just saying like you don't want to, you need to make it more of a challenge to CM Punk at this point. Yeah. He can't. I don't think he can. Here's the thing, right? I think that Moxley's pop was bigger than a CM Punk Chicago pop at All Out. I don't think he can top that Moxley pop. No, I don't think so. I'm
kidding. If he shows up at All Out, it's Austin level. Yeah. Like it's Austin coming out to help Mankind. It's Triple H returning at Madison Square Garden. If he shows up at All Out, it's the loudest response you've ever heard
Chicago.
In a wrestling ring. Yes, at the Sears Center where they had All In, where everyone thought he would show up. If he doesn't show up at All Out, man, I don't know. We know that CM Punk was Tony Khan's first choice.
First choice.
You got to think he's listening to the podcast. You got to think he's watching the show. You got to think he's at least thinking about it, right? Am I too
No,
naive?
like we've heard the story. He's like CM Punk's even said that he actually listens to anyone else in the wrestling business. He listens to the Young Bucks. He at least listens to their ideas. So he's aware of it, and we don't know what they have in store. And like we've had that little like, is he like back in wrestling? Is he not with those like mass appearances? Just.
Imagine if Cult of Personality hits,
which it will, because he owns that. He can't like WWE doesn't own that.
Yeah, he can get the rights to that. It will the place will literally implode. You need that. I really feel like you need that. I feel like as your tent poles, because he's explicitly an anti WWE guy, right? If you have CM Punk, if you have Cody, if you have Moxley, and you have Jericho, who's not explicitly anti-WWE, but he is very much pro-wrestling.
Yeah, they say the phrase alternative, and it will, for these next few shows, they will be the alternative, but if it comes to All Out and CM Punk is there, it's not just alternative, it is, it's game on.
Yeah, I feel like he has to be a surprise. I don't know where you fit him in, because we don't know the stories yet as we approach it, but... something else I want to predict as well. So I'm predicting CM Punk for All Out. I'm also predicting a Dustin Rhodes heel turn. I should have talked about this when we talked about the match. I feel like after that thing with the, I need my brother, like that turned Cody face. We need to turn Dustin heel and capitalize on this, because the heat will be insane.
Yeah. I would definitely like turn a lot of heads, and just they're great at emotional storytelling. Like that would probably make sense.
Just how good that match was. Imagine he turned, say they do it straight away. They do it at Fyter Fest. Brothers versus brothers, and the Young Bucks win. putting them closer towards a tag team title shot. And straight away, Dustin flips his shit, beats the crap out of Cody. You were always the weak link in the family.
Mm-hmm.
You were the one Dad didn't like. I was the favorite son for a goddamn reason. I'm the best Rhodes that has ever lived, and WWE never let me have that shot, and I'm going to take it here. I'm not going to let you hold me down.
Oh, I'm just getting chills just thinking
Right?
about that, yeah.
And then they have another match, and maybe Dustin wins. And then you build to the main event on the first TV show. Maybe they can't wait to the main event. Maybe you open the first TV show with Cody versus Dustin in a cage. You know what I mean?
Like this is just us speculating. There's so many avenues for them to go. Like, it's been an amazing first outing for them. Like, there's so many stories already set up. There's so many places they can go with this.
I have one more point to talk about that I forgot to tell you. I didn't put it in the wrong sheet. Tony Khan.
Yes.
The antithesis of Vince McMahon.
Jericho and Moxley, they even said that he is the exact opposite of Vince McMahon in the best way possible. Like, he is a devout fan of all these guys.
Nega Vince.
Yeah.
Not just being a devout fan. Like, because Moxley pointed out, he's like, can Vince even be a fan of wrestling? Like, he's lived and breathed it for 40 years. Like, can he be a fan of wrestling? Like, Vince would not have time to watch anything outside his own stuff. I doubt Vince even watches Ride a lot.
Yeah, no, I doubt that very much, yeah.
Like WWE put out so much stuff that Vince doesn't watch NXT, famously, right? That's why NXT's so good. If he watched it, he'd be like, that's not good shit. I'll tell you what's some good shit. Have that Velveteen Dream guy lose a lot.
If the latest call-up from NXT meant anything, like, that kind of sounded solidified that. But yeah, we're getting off topic.
Yeah. No, it's... but Tony is apparently Nega Vince. And it's not just from... I've heard from on other podcasts, like the people who were a part of the press, right? And I can't remember who it was. It was one of the podcasts that were at the show. And they were in the press scrum afterwards asking questions. And it was just weird to them because, like, you don't get to ask Vince McMahon questions. You don't get to ask even like Triple H and stuff. It's all very, there's 3 layers before. But he just walked out into the press room and was just like, "Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah, I'm the boss here. I own this place. Like, does anyone have any questions?" And he's just like cordial and one of the boys, and he's just hanging out with everyone. And you think of his connections through his sport, like his family own an NFL franchise. They own a football franchise. I don't know the name of the league. No. Whatever, Fulham. They own a football franchise, so that's gotten them the biggest ever wrestling deal on TV in the UK. A huge deal going back to TNT. Like, this is a formidable opponent for Vince because he's not Vince. Yeah,
it's not a maniacal billionaire against maniacal billionaire. It's just like it's a like, just like you said, the antithesis.
A friendly wrestling fan,
and that's going to appeal to a lot of people.
A friendly sports fan too. He's a sports fan. He's like a big, and he has a very analytical mind. Whereas Vince, I feel Vince is definitely far more about the storytelling, but he's
promotion,
sort of, in my opinion, lost the idea of story. Well, he's emotional and creative. I feel like Vince is emotional and creative, and I feel like the best Vince comes out when he's challenged, but not from within.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think he's got a challenger here, and I think it's the wrestling world is about to heat up, but maybe it's not.
I mean, like, maybe, like,
are you picking up what I'm putting down?
I'm picking up. Like, maybe you're saying, like, what you think that there might be an alliance in there somewhere.
Just let me reach for my bandana with the hair attached. My conspiracy hat.
Happening. It's happening.
Conspiracy Greg is coming out. Conspiracy Greg is coming out.
I don't believe this for a second.
Hello, everyone. It's Conspiracy Greg here. I agree with Vince Russo, who thinks that AEW and WWE are working together to make sure Vince Russo never works in wrestling again.
No.
Let us know what Vinny Roo said.
So he is convinced that WWE and AEW are, without a doubt, in cahoots with each other. So there is no question, bro. There is no question
They're working together.
Things don't add up.
They're in bed together. It's dirty. This is a dirty deal. All right. There's no question, bro. I have the evidence. Tune into my podcast behind a $5 paywall. Have I told you that we have more Patreon subscribers than Vince Russo?
Oh my god, that makes me feel so warm inside.
It makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. Like, Danders still has us beat.
Yeah.
But Vince Russo, we at least have more than that guy. No, look, I'm going to hear him out. I'm going to listen to the episode if it's not behind the paywall. Because it wouldn't be the first time that Vince has funded opposition.
Yeah.
You know? He slid some money under the table to ECW. We're still finding out the extent of that. And, you know, maybe he wants it to look like this competition. Maybe it's all a work, right? Like, I mean, maybe the podcast interview is all a work, right? They're all workers. They're all carnies. You can't trust fucking any of them.
It's kind of hard. Like, honestly, I think one of the things that will really put that to the test is if Renee Young is punished in any way for what John Moxley has said.
They can't punish her. That's
I know,
look.
but I think someone's actually reported that because they did that in Moxley's home, and she was there while they were recording.
While they were recording which? Sorry?
Yeah,
the
the Talk is Jericho podcast. Like, she was there. Yeah. And, like, Jericho actually said, like, during that entire segment that she was there listening. So, right. I feel like that would be the test.
You can't punish her. That's a really bad look. WWE are not that stupid, I don't think. Like, I mean, it's stupid. Like, I don't know. Maybe we get some kind of angle where, you know, Renee Young sleeps with Vince McMahon. It's good shit.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's just those kind of things. Like, I'm really curious. Like, Moxley even said, I go try and say Dean Ambrose now. I need to get into that habit. Moxley, he said on the Wade Keller, like, he hasn't received any backlash yet for this, and nor should he, because he's out of their employ. Like, he's an independent contractor, legitimately now. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's fantastic. Let's talk about the video he shot too. Was shot with Sick Nick Mondo, who's a deathmatch legend. I popped for that.
Yeah. No, I love the fact that he was recording it while he was under contract, like on his day off.
Telling Vince that he's committed to a film project. That's why he can't do the European tour. So call Dave. Yeah,
I need a favor.
Oh wow, yeah. I need a favor. Wasn't that? That was CM. That came up on the CM Punk podcast,
the exact same
right?
thing. Like, hey there, pal. I need a favor. Yeah.
Hey, pal. I need a favor. Yeah. Oh wow. Vince is a character. But I think we're in for some interesting times, and I think that's all we have. Vince Russo is crazy. I mean, look, it's not impossible, but I don't think that's the case. It's a very in-depth work, which is WWE even capable of that at this point? How many people would need to approve this?
Oh, the way their creative team is going, like, yeah.
They would have had to run this through the House of Representatives. They would have had to take it to the cabinet and get Linda's stamp of approval, right? And she's busy building some kind of wall. I don't know. I think it's very late, and I have 3 hours of podcast to edit. Let's call it a day, buddy.
It's been a day.
The All Elite Extravaganza, almost 2 hours we've talked about. It's worth it though, man. Like, look, I'm so excited for the future of All Elite Wrestling. I was already excited. I'm a fanboy. Happy to admit it. But this show and everything that's come out in the week since. Actually, sorry, just hit the desk. I should probably talk about this too. The buy rates, right? It's already the most bought pay-per-view outside of WWF and WCW in American wrestling history. So it's already outdone anything ECW ever did.
It doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Not at all. So people are hungry for this, man, and it's only going to grow from here. Cody says the goal is to have wrestling everywhere. You know, check out the YouTube channels, Nightmare Family, Being the Elite, All Elite Wrestling. There's some matches on there. Get around it because you want to be the person who was there on the ground floor.
They're going to change the world, man.
The universe. Change the universe.
They're going to change the universe. They're going to do it all.
Got Got to get the branding right, brother. Where can people find you? Your branding.
Getting the branding right. You can find me at Mr Myster1ous107 on all the socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Hit me up, guys. We'll have a chat about what you thought about Double or Nothing.
I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit. The B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. And thank you so much for listening.
Hey, guys.